Good morning, good afternoon, or, good evening, depending on when you're tuning in. Welcome to Sip and Talk.
I'm Sunny.
I'm Joe.
Hello, everyone.
I am so excited for today's deep dive, but first, I've got to ask, looking at your mug over there, what exactly did you put in your coffee today? Because you look like you're vibrating in a slightly higher frequency than usual.
Yeah, I added a very heavy dose of pure brain power today. I mean, I honestly really needed it.
Really? Rough week?
You could say that. I spent practically my entire week just watching online retail traders absolutely melting down on social media.
Oh, no. Let me guess. The semiconductor stocks.
Exactly. They were literally crying over selling their chips a little too early and then completely missing this massive, sudden software rebound. It's been a wild and honestly kind of a predictable ride to observe.
Oh, man, I've seen the meltdowns, too. It's been like a massive gladiator arena out there for the last 6 months. Everyone running around shouting about the AI revolution, but, their actual behavior was completely one-sided.
Right. They saw hardware skyrocketing and just threw everything else out.
Exactly. They saw the chips booming, and suddenly they were throwing all their legacy software stocks right out the window, like they were just ancient relics.
Because there was this extreme, almost unquestioned market consensus going around. The logic seemed sound to a layman, if artificial intelligence can instantly generate a new application, then all existing software companies are totally doomed.
Right. AI can code, so software is dead.
Precisely, but the market has violently corrected that assumption over the past few days. I mean, we are seeing a major reality check.
Which is exactly our mission for today. We're going to unpack this fascinating turning point for you guys. After a very quiet half year, foundational software giants, companies like Palantir, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, and Microsoft, they're suddenly back in the spotlight.
They're roaring back to life.
Yes. And we need to figure out the underlying mechanics here. Is this just a temporary fluke, a dead cat bounce? Or is this the actual turning point where AI finally starts generating real, tangible software revenue?
And just as importantly, we're going to dive into the psychology of navigating these massive market shifts. We'll be talking about the ultimate survival skill for this kind of environment, which is the philosophy of staying in your lane.
Yes, the psychology is huge. If you have been sweating recently because you've been constantly shifting your portfolio around, chasing the highest flyers and panic selling, this conversation is going to be incredibly relevant for you.
Absolutely.
But before we jump into the deep end, just a couple of quick but very important reminders for you. First, we are not financial experts or advisors. Any market data, stock tickers, or investment strategies we discuss today are purely for reference and objective analysis.
So always do your own research.
Right. And second, on this show, we objectively examine global facts. We don't criticize, endorse, or discriminate against any nation, political group, or people. Our goal is just to provide you with the raw data and context to encourage your own independent critical thinking.
We lay out the pieces, and you put the puzzle together.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this software revival. Walk us through the mechanics here. What is the actual catalyst that sparked this massive turnaround? Because just weeks ago, people were practically writing obituaries for SaaS companies.
Well, the blind spot in that fatalistic view was treating software as just one big monolithic entity, which it's not.
Right.
The ultimate proof point, the catalyst that really shattered this whole software is dead narrative, actually came from Snowflake, ticker symbol SNOW.
Okay, the data cloud guys.
Yeah. They recently posted their first quarter earnings, and they revealed a 33% year-over-year revenue growth. And what's really fascinating here is that this marks 2 consecutive quarters of accelerating growth for them.
Wait, 2 quarters in a row?
Yep. In the world of database and cloud computing, that is a massive, undeniable signal. It means massive enterprises are actively, aggressively spending money on data processing software right now.
Wow. So this completely kills the ghost story that AI is wiping out software. It's actually, feeding it. But wait, why Snowflake? Why data processing? I thought the whole point of these massive new AI models was that they could just ingest anything and figure it out on their own.
That is exactly the trap people fall into. AI is feeding a very specific type of software. It's the foundational consensus operation layer. In computer science, we often refer to this as the CRUD layer.
Okay, hold on, CRUD. The stuff you scrape off the bottom of your shoe, you're going to have to break that down for us.
No, it's an acronym, CRUD. It stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete. These are the 4 basic functions of persistent storage. It's the absolute foundational mechanics of how any enterprise manages its underlying data.
Okay, I'm following.
So think about a massive global bank or a multinational retailer. When they decide they want to deploy a large language model to revolutionize their operations, they immediately hit a brick wall because their data is incredibly messy.
Oh, for sure. It's probably everywhere.
Exactly. It's siloed across Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and, their own dusty on-premise servers from 2005.
Right. I think we need a better way to visualize this for everyone. It's kind of like building a 300-mile-per-hour bullet train, right? The AI is this amazing futuristic train.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
But then you realize you still desperately need someone to lay the concrete tracks and build the secure stations before that train can actually go anywhere. You can't just put the bullet train in a dirt field. The CRU databases are the tracks.
That is a phenomenal analogy, yes. And you hit the nail on the head regarding the secure stations, too. Because a Fortune 500 company is absolutely never going to allow their highly classified private customer data to be fed directly into a public AI model like OpenAI or Anthropic.
Oh, absolutely not. The lawyers would have a heart attack.
Yeah. It's a regulatory nightmare. And they also aren't going to spend billions of dollars trying to build their own custom data integration platform from scratch. So they buy it off the shelf from foundational CRU'd software companies.
Like Snowflake or Palantir.
Exactly. They have already built these highly secure integrated data infrastructures. They act as the necessary secure highways for enterprise data.
I see.
So the more a company wants to utilize AI, the more they realize their underlying data needs to be perfectly organized. Therefore, the demand for these CRU databases actually explodes. AI isn't killing them, it's making them indispensable.
Okay, but hold on. Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. If these foundational companies are safe, are there software companies that actually are in danger? Because we need to differentiate the risk here.
That's a crucial point. Yes, you can't just buy any software stock blindly. While the foundational infrastructure companies are thriving, the companies that rely purely on user interface and user experience...
UI UX companies.
Right, UI UX companies. They are facing a very real existential threat from AI.
Like Adobe, right? Where their whole thing is the front-end canvas.
Yes, exactly like Adobe. They are facing what we call disintermediation. Because if an AI model can instantly generate a highly complex front-end layout or perfectly format a digital canvas just through a voice command, traditional UI UX software loses its moat.
Oh, wow. Because the layer between the user and the final product is just completely removed.
Precisely. So pure front-end application software might face a real structural decline, while foundational data software is safe.
That is such a critical distinction to make. But, knowing the technology is really only half the battle. The other half, and honestly sometimes the much harder half, is managing your own psychological anxiety when the market violently shifts.
Oh, the human element is always the hardest part of investing.
It really is. Let's talk about that extreme FOMO, the fear of missing out that investors have been suffering from. When you see hardware stocks skyrocketing and your software stocks are just hibernating, people lose their minds.
It destroys more portfolios than bad research ever could. It is incredibly difficult to watch semiconductors post double-digit gains week after week while your solid foundational companies just drift sideways.
Right. I have a theory about this that I think perfectly explains the psychology. I call it the Costco checkout line theory.
Okay, I have to hear this.
So it's exactly like being at Costco on a Sunday afternoon. You're in a checkout line, and it is moving painfully slow. You're getting impatient, checking your watch, and you look over at the lane next to you.
And it looks completely clear.
Yes. The cashier is just flying. So you abandon your spot, you bail on your line, and you jump over to the new lane. And what happens the exact second you switch?
The person in front of you suddenly needs a price check or their card gets declined.
Exactly. Your shiny new line completely stalls out. And to make it infinitely worse, you look back at the line you just left, and suddenly it's flying. If you had just stayed put, you'd be eating a hot dog by now.
That is so true.
In investing, jumping lines like that costs you so much more. You jump into the hype stock at the peak, and you sell your solid company at the absolute bottom.
Which brings us to the core strategy here, staying in your lane. The key to maintaining your capital is understanding what should actually drive your investment thesis. Your decisions have to be based on future value, not on daily price action.
Right. Don't just look at the red and green numbers every day.
Take Palantir, ticker PLTR, for example. There were periods recently where it dropped low enough to make people doubt their sanity. But your daily homework isn't checking the stock price. Your homework is asking one objective question.
Which is?
Is a top-tier model company like Anthropic actively destroying this company's economic moat?
I love that.
Right. Are they reaching into this company's specific territory and offering a better, more secure alternative? If the answer is no, then your core thesis hasn't changed. You stay in your lane.
So if the moat is safe, you endure the volatility. I love it. But, okay, let's pivot a bit here. We've established that foundational software is safe for now. But there is a massive physical ceiling to this AI software revival that almost no one's talking about.
This is the really fascinating part, the pivot from the digital world to the physical world.
Right, because software might live in the cloud, but the cloud lives in massive, physical, energy-hungry data centers. And those require global stability to build.
Exactly. The software revival is triggering an unprecedented physical infrastructure supercycle. And to understand why, we have to look at this mind-blowing fact that recently came from Cisco regarding bandwidth.
Lay it on us.
So we are currently transitioning from basic AI chatbots to full-blown AI agents. These are models that perform complex tasks autonomously. But here is the staggering statistic. An AI agent consumes up to 450% more network bandwidth than a human doing the exact same task.
Nice. 450%? Are you serious?
I am.
Why is it that much higher? If I'm auditing a spreadsheet, I just look at it and type. Why does the machine need 4.5 times more network capacity to do the same thing?
Because the AI agent doesn't just visually process a screen. It's constantly pinging APIs, generating thousands of tokens, and running continuous verification loops in the background. It's pulling vast amounts of data from external servers just to ensure accuracy.
Wow. Parallel processing on steroids.
Exactly. So when you scale that up to millions of AI agents working globally, the current internet infrastructure simply cannot handle it. This requires a massive build-out of new data centers.
And to build those data centers, you need raw materials. Which brings us to the commodity squeeze, specifically aluminum.
Yes. Aluminum is the primary metal used in the server racks, the massive liquid cooling systems, and the actual framework of these facilities. But the global supply chain is facing a severe shock right now.
And this is where the geopolitics come in, because we have to objectively look at the facts on the ground. The Middle East produces roughly 20% of the world's non-China aluminum supply.
That's a massive chunk of the global market.
It is. And right now, Donald Trump is currently hunkered down in the Situation Room, trying to navigate a very volatile conflict involving Iran. The tensions are boiling over.
It's getting very kinetic.
Exactly. We just saw reports of a ballistic missile strike on a Kuwaiti airbase. It injured Americans and severely damaged 2 MQ-9 Reaper drones. And just for context, those drones cost roughly $30 million each.
So when you have that level of military activity in a region that produces a fifth of the global aluminum supply, the ripple effects are immediate. We are seeing major structural choke points emerge.
Right. And the most critical one is the Strait of Hormuz. That narrow stretch of water is basically the jugular vein for global shipping.
It really is. A massive percentage of container ships carrying materials like oil and aluminum have to pass through it. And with the ongoing conflict, there are threats of blockades and nations suggesting temporary tolls.
So what happens to the shipping?
The shipping times and costs for these crucial materials are just skyrocketing.
It's so ironic when you think about it. You sit at your computer, you think you're just investing in some sleek Silicon Valley software company, but your success is actually entirely tied to whether a cargo ship can safely navigate the Strait of Hormuz halfway across the world.
Everything is intimately connected. The digital economy does not exist in a vacuum. It's deeply anchored to the physical world. The software revival is real, but the raw materials and the global shipping lanes are the hidden variables that dictate the actual pace of this AI revolution.
Okay, let's bring this all together for everyone. The market winds are always going to change, right? For 6 months, it was chips. Today, it's foundational CRUD software. Tomorrow, it'll be something else.
Something we haven't even named yet.
Right. But if you can see the actual skeleton of the global economy, from how AI agents demand 450% more bandwidth to how that impacts Middle Eastern shipping lanes, that is what allows you to stay calm.
It allows you to ignore the noise and confidently stay in your lane.
Exactly. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over today. We talked about how AI agents consume 450% more bandwidth to autonomously complete our tasks. If these machines are taking on that much heavy lifting, what happens to human jobs? Will they just disappear? Or will the real divide simply be between those who are AI fluent, who will use these agents to become 50 times more productive, and those who stubbornly refuse to adapt?
It's a profound question. Will it replace us or just act as an exoskeleton for human capability?
Something to really think about as you go about your week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Remember, we never give absolute advice here. Our goal is just to unpack the complex data and foster your own independent thinking.
We really appreciate you taking the time to dive into these topics with us.
Before you go, make sure you subscribe to the Sip and Talk podcast so you never miss a conversation. And I have a huge favor to ask. Head over to YouTube and hit subscribe on our old friend Mickey's channel. It's called Mickey to Life. They're putting out the absolute best, newest travel vlogs right now, and you do not want to miss them.
Take care, everyone. Stay curious.
See you next time. Bye-bye.